Open up. This is the Phoenix Police Department. We have a warrant for your arrest.
Do you have a warrant?
This is a warrant. You're under arrest.
What? No! You can't do this!
So, did you do the crime?
No.
Come on, tell me. Did you do the crime?
No.
Okay, well, I'm gonna sit here for as long as I need to until I get a confession. Did you do the crime?
No.
Really? Did you do the crime?
No.
Did you do the crime?
Okay, I did it! Alright?
What a surprise. Please, write exactly what I'm about to tell you on that paper right there. I do hereby swear that I make this statement voluntarily and of my own free will, with no threats, coercion, or promises of immunity, and with full knowledge of my legal rights, understanding any statement I make may be used against me. Thank you, sir.
So it says here you confess, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
But he wasn't informed of his rights, so...
So it says here that you confessed, is that true?
Yes, I did.
But he wasn't informed of his rights!
Thank you, Mr. Flynn, for being here with us today and for preparing this case for us.
Thank you for choosing to hear us. I'll begin by saying that my client's Fifth Amendment right was violated, and at no point during his arrest or his interrogation was it made specifically clear that he was allowed to remain silent or not to write or say anything that would incriminate him specifically.
So you're saying that the policeman never actually explicitly told Miranda that he had the right to remain silent and that he did not have to say any of the things he did?
Correct, sir. All they did tell him in his confession to write was that he understood the rights even though he was never told them beforehand. Here's a clip of actually some old Phoenix Police Department official talking about it and their issues regarding their practice of just not even telling anybody their rights before it.
Sir, did you say to the defendant at any time before he made this statement that anything he said would be held against him?
No, sir.
You did not warn him of that?
Not at all, sir.
Did you warn him of his rights to an attorney?
No, sir.
Are these things you typically would do in the Phoenix Police Department?
No, sir, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Flynn. Justice Harlan, your thoughts?
Thank you, Justice Warren and Mr. Flynn and Mr. Miranda. So look, I believe that to act on this in favor of this defendant would be going against the Constitution. This because the Constitution naturally provides equal protection under the law. But by allowing this criminal to run wild in our society once more, despite this debated constitutionality of this act, this would do so much more harm than good if we allow it to happen. And this is obvious because we know already what he's done once. So if we let him back out, despite all this being talked about here, this is not going to be a good thing for the nation. And if this happens again, and we just keep letting people out, this is not something that we have to start now. Because if we do this, the lower courts will do this, everyone will do this, and it's just showing that just because a policeman doesn't say, you have the right to remain silent, we're going to let a criminal run wild again? No, we can't be doing that.
Okay, look, here's the deal. By not being acknowledged of his constitutional rights to remain silent. Under the Fifth Amendment, his confession remains invalid. This was not supported in the courts because they used his confession, but here we can't allow that to happen because it goes explicitly against the Constitution to not allow them to have the right to counsel and to show them the right to remain silent. So I think that we have to go through this as something that was unconstitutional, and despite its short-term repercussions of Miranda being let back out, long-term it'll be better for the nation because people will not be tried for something that they may have confessed to, even though they don't have to confess to it because they didn't know that.
Justices, thanks again for hearing us. We appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Flynn.
By not stating the defendant's constitutional rights under the Fifth Amendment prior to the confession, it thereby invalidates said confession.
Nothing in the letter or the spirit of the Constitution or in the precedents squares with the heavy-handed and one-sided action that is so precipitously taken by the court in the name of fulfilling its constitutional responsibilities.
I have no desire whatsoever to share the responsibility for any such impact on the present criminal process. In some unknown number of cases, the court's rule will return a killer, a rapist, or other criminal to the streets and to the environment which produced him to repeat his crime whenever it pleases him. As a consequence, there will not be a gain, but a loss in human dignity.